Scotland, a land shrouded in mystery and rich with history. Among its ancient peoples were the enigmatic Picts, a confederation of tribal units whose legacy continues to intrigue scholars and historians to this day. The Picts left no written records of their own, yet their story echoes through the history of time, preserved in the stone carvings they left behind and the accounts of later Roman and Scottish writers. Believed to have originated from Scandinavia as a cohesive group, the Picts were not a single tribe but a confederation united by the need to ally against common enemies. Their encounter with the mighty Roman Empire is a tale of resilience and defiance. Despite facing defeat in battle, the Picts emerged victorious in the broader struggle, becoming the only people in northern Britain to withstand Roman conquest. The name Picts itself, coined by the Roman writer Eumenes in 297 CE, is said to derive from their habit of painting their bodies with dye, a symbol of their fierce identity and defiance. Tacitus, an earlier Roman historian, referred to them as Caledonians, highlighting the diversity within the Pictish Confederation. However, the true origins of their name remain debated among modern scholars, with some suggesting it may have been a self-designation such as Pect, meaning the ancestors. The Picts existed in the written record from 297 CE until around 900 CE, after which they fade into obscurity. But their absence from written history does not signify their disappearance. Rather, it marks the merging of their culture with that of the Southern Scots. The story of the Picts begins not with an invasion. Modern scholarship paints a picture of a people who were not newcomers, but the descendants of the first inhabitants of what we now call Scotland. According to historians like Stuart McHardy and archaeologist Dr. Gordon Noble, the Picts were indigenous to northern Scotland, with their origins tracing back to Scythia, which we now know as Scandinavia. They lived in tightly knit communities, building their homes from wood and leaving behind a legacy of intricate stone carvings that still dot the Scottish landscape today. These carved stones serve as the only surviving records of Pictish history, preserving glimpses of their culture and traditions for future generations. The Picts organized themselves into clans, known as kin, each led by a tribal chief. Among these clans were the Carini, Cornavii, Lugi, Smyrdi, and others, each with their own territories and customs. While these clans often pursued their own interests, they would unite in times of need, electing a single chief to lead them against common enemies. The origins of the name Picts remain debated among historians. Some, like McHardy, suggest that it may derive from the Gaelic word Pecht, meaning the ancestors, reflecting their reverence for their ancient lineage. Regardless of their name, the Picts ranged across northern Scotland, from Orkney to the Firth of Forth, living as farmers, fishermen, and warriors. Despite occasional conflicts between tribes for resources, the Picts generally lived in peace until they were threatened by outside forces. As Rome extended its mighty grasp across Europe, it encountered a formidable challenge in the tribal lands of what would become Scotland. The Picts, a people of ancient lineage and guerrilla warfare expertise, would prove to be a thorn in the side of the mighty Roman Empire. The first significant clash occurred in 79 AD CE, when Julius Agricola, Roman governor of Britain, invaded northern Scotland, reaching the line between the rivers Clyde and Forth by 82 CE. The decisive moment came at the Battle of Mons Graupius in 83 CE, where the Picts, under the leadership of Calgacus, faced the disciplined Roman legions. Tacitus, the Roman historian, chronicled the event, and Calgacus' famed speech, highlighting the Picts' thirst for freedom and their resistance against Roman oppression. Despite the Romans' victory, the Picts' tactical withdrawal was not a defeat but a shift to guerrilla warfare, as noted by historian Stuart McHardy. The Roman legions, accustomed to conquering nations with central cities, faced an unprecedented challenge. The lack of defined political centers in Pictish territories frustrated Roman attempts at control. In response to Pictish raids, the Romans constructed Hadrian's Wall in 122 CE and the Antonine Wall in 142 CE, marking symbolic boundaries rather than impregnable barriers. The Picts, living off the land and adept at hit-and-run tactics, remained unconquerable. The Friars note that the Roman occupation contracted over the years, and the Picts continued their way of life. When the Romans departed Britain in 410 CE, the Picts persisted in the northern regions. As the Roman Empire extended its reach into Britain, it brought with it the seeds of a new faith that would forever alter the spiritual landscape of the Picts, the dawn of Christianity. Christian missionaries, inspired by the teachings of Constantine's decree of religious tolerance, ventured into Pictish territories. Among them was Street, Ninian, whose efforts marked the beginning of a profound transformation. The Picts, practitioners of tribal paganism, revered nature and worshipped a mother goddess, with women holding equal status to men. Their worldview centered around the land as sacred and interconnected with divine presence. Yet it was the arrival of Columba, a former tribal warlord from Ireland, that would usher in a new era. With his charismatic leadership and miraculous feats, he captivated the hearts and minds of the Picts. The monster was terrified and fled more quickly than if it had been pulled back with ropes, as Columba commanded the creature to depart. Despite Columba's successes, the path to conversion was fraught with challenges. Pictish resistance persisted, with instances of martyrdom and resistance to the new faith. Even as late as 673 CE, segments of the Pictish population remained resistant, as evidenced by their burning of a monastery in Turi. Yet, over time, Christianity took root among the Picts, transforming their spiritual landscape and reshaping their societal norms. In the age of tribal conflicts and shifting alliances, one battle would alter the course of history: the Battle of Dun Nechtain. As the kingdom of Northumbria encroached upon Pictish lands, tensions simmered between the two powers. King Ecgfrith of Northumbria sought to quell what he perceived as Pictish rebellion, but his ambitions led him into a fateful confrontation. With the Picts under the leadership of King Bruda MacBilly consolidating their power and repelling Northumbrian incursions, the stage was set for a decisive clash. In May of 685 CE, on the shores of Nectansmere, the Picts confronted the Northumbrian forces. Bruda's strategic brilliance outmaneuvered the Northumbrians, leading to a stunning victory for the Picts. The enemy pretended to retreat and lured the king into narrow mountain passes, where he was killed with the greater part of his forces. The fall of Ecgfrith and his army shattered Northumbria's power and restored Pictish sovereignty over their lands. It marked a turning point in the region's history, reshaping the balance of power and securing Pictish independence. Under Bruda's wise rule, the Picts enjoyed a period of stability and prosperity. His legacy extended beyond military victory, as he enacted laws to protect the innocent and foster peace within his realm. The Battle of Dun Nechtain stands as a testament to the resilience and courage of the Picts, who defended their homeland against formidable foes and safeguarded their way of life for generations to come. In the early 8th century, King Nechtain of the Picts made a controversial decree, favoring the Roman Catholic Church over the Celtic tradition, sparking unrest among his people. Nechtain's abdication plunged the Picts into civil war, torn between adherence to the Celtic Church and the influence of Roman Catholicism. Amidst the chaos, King Angus emerged as a unifying force, leading the Picts in victorious campaigns against their enemies, including the Scots of Dalriada. Successive rulers, including Constantine and Angus, continued to shape the destiny of the Scots and the Picts, facing external threats and internal challenges. It was King Angus, facing the looming threat of the English invasion, who received a divine vision that would change the course of history. Andrew appeared to Angus in a dream, and promised him victory in battle if the king would dedicate a tenth of his riches to the service of God. Emboldened by the vision, Angus led his forces into battle against the English at Mercia, where the white cross of Andrew appeared in the sky, heralding their triumph. In gratitude for their victory, King Angus adopted the white cross on a blue background as his standard, forever enshrining the symbol of divine protection in Scottish pride, the saltire. Contrary to popular myth, Kenneth did not seize power through deceit and treachery. Descended from both the Scots of Dalriada and the Picts, he was a rightful heir to both thrones. Under Kenneth's rule, the borders of Alba expanded farther than ever before, as he led campaigns against the English invaders, driving them from the land. But as the English threat diminished, a new menace emerged from the sea: the Vikings, whose raids struck fear into the hearts of Scots and Picts alike. To safeguard his kingdom, Kenneth moved the relics of Columba and established the Stone of Destiny at Scone, symbols of unity and strength in the face of adversity. After Kenneth's passing, his legacy lived on through his brother's son, Geric, the last king to be called King of the Picts. Under his rule, the Picts and Scots joined forces to form the new political entity of Alba. Thus, the Picts of old did not fade into history, but became the foundation of a new nation, their descendants walking the same lands with pride as Scots of Alba.